For connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results and superstars for April 14th, 2014. NXT Tag Team Champions Ascension are likely to debut on WWE TV in the next few months. Of course, well, aren't any of the wrestlers. In addition to the NXT stars that were pushed on Monday's Raw, with many talents being promoted to the main roster, look for Sean Ricker, aka Slate Randall, to get a push on NXT TV as well. NXT champion Adrian Neville will stay on the NXT through the end of summer at the very least. With Paige winning the WWE Divas title on Raw, the NXT Women's title will likely be vacated with Charlotte or Sasha Banks as champion. Being chased by Bayley, Lisa Marie Varon, aka Victoria, or Tara from TNA, maybe back to work for WWE in some form here soon. Most likely as an NXT trainer, there's a women's tryout camp being planned for June, so she may be brought in for that. None of the WWE talents knew Wade Barrett was going to do a bad news speech at the WWE Hall of Fame, but everyone loved it. As noted, JR was a late addition to the WrestleMania 30 access and appeared in the front row with his wife. At the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, there was a belief that WWE was making nice with JR to keep him from joining Jeff Jarrett's promotion, which we know will be called Global Force Wrestling. There were some rumblings that Ross was going to call the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania, but there was some concern that that would telegraph the finish. And you read more on Lisa Marie's working for WWE, I think, as well as Adrian Neville's WWE future, as well as the women's title for NXT. A week after the wrestling world was sent into a state of shock following the sudden death of WWE Hall of Famer, the Ultimate Warrior, the cause of his death was finally been released by his autopsy. But no one's surprised based on the reports from the scene. Warrior formerly James Hellwig died of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. In other words, he suffered a massive heart attack. No drugs or alcohol were found in his system, so this is being termed death by natural causes. The Ultimate Legend documentary that WWE Network aired on the Ultimate Warrior early in the week is a must-see. It features new footage of Sting talking about his history with the Ultimate Warrior and how Warrior was. It also had footage of Vince McMahon talking about Warrior and getting emotional. Triple H talked about getting the news from his assistants and knowing it would be a tough conversation with Vince because of what Warrior meant to him. Vince says it was surreal to hear Warrior had passed and he didn't want to believe it. Vince said the timing of it was as if it was destined to happen that way. Sting also spoke about Warrior's death, what he said on Raw the night before, and called it prophetic. And Vince said Warrior wasn't one for sympathy and would want people to celebrate his life. The documentary is currently archived for viewing on the network. During the Warrior documentary, there's a scene where Warrior meets with some of WWE's merchandise people about some of the things that they have planned for him. On the wall, there are recent WWE pay-per-view posters hanging. 2014 Royal Rumble poster had a post-it note stuck over CM Punk's face. Thanks to Brandon and Mikey for sending in that news article. TMZ was reporting that Nancy Grace has been blackballed by WWE over the way she covered the death of the Ultimate One. WWE is warning current and former superstars to stay off her show. And TMZ notes that while WWE hasn't issued any official memos yet, strong word is going around that the company that anyone connected to the WWE brand should stay away from Nancy if they want to keep a working relationship. Apparently, Monday's Raw script was leaked online, and here are some of the notes were included in the script. CM Punk was listed under the miscellaneous category of wrestlers on the script for Monday's Raw as ING, meaning injury or to be announced or to be determined. Rey Mysterio and AJ were listed as INJ or TBD. The reason Summer Rae and The Miz were not on Monday's Raw was due to them shooting an upcoming movie. Great Khali was given the night off. Adam Rose and Bo Dallas had been moved to the talent roster. As you know, the segments for Adam Rose is on the live Raw show, the Vignettes. And I'll be posting a picture at the end of this video of his bus, RV. Brock Lesnar, the Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn have been moved to the talent roster to miscellaneous. Stephanie McMahon was scheduled to tape the segment for the JBL and Cole show. And, of course, you can view the link at this site. Former WWE star Marty Jannetty recently found out that he's a father. His daughter appeared to be a young adult now, and he wrote the following on his Facebook. Happiest guy living right now. Wish I was there to watch her grow up, but so happy to be given this gift now. From here on, I'm going to be a different person than I have been. Will be the best daddy ever, or at least the best one I can be. I'm the happiest guy on this planet right now. Now I get to do all the boys who have told me how it's life changing when you have a kid. Man, I had no kids, so I didn't get it. Now I do. That's my girl. And guys, don't you dare look at her twice. Bad ankles and all. I will make sure you never look at my daughter like that again. Love you, Bianca. Yes, that's his daughter's name. Hey, we didn't get the choice, but now we have to do that. And I love you. Hope you will accept me. I will change so much now. I will never embarrass you. Hercules trailer that premiered on the MTV Movie Awards last night. Check out this link. The Rock just left London where he was doing some late work for Hercules. He also stopped in at Dubai for some promotional work and is now in Australia to film San Andreas disaster movie. PW Insider confirms previous reports that Sting has his WWE deal, but has not signed yet. As of a few days ago, the deal has been done in principle for some time now. They also confirmed that the reports that Sting isn't expected to be wrestling on a regular basis for WWE. Former WWE NXT star Kenneth Cameron, real name Thomas Latimer, worked a dark match for TNA on Saturday before their one-night only pay-per-view extravaganza tapings from Orlando. He faced Florida indie wrestler Aaron Solo, who is good friends of Davey Richards. Latimer joined the WWE developmental in 2010 and was part of the Ascension. He was released in 2012 following his arrest for disorderly intoxication and battery of a police officer. Mark Henry noted on Twitter that he has a part in a new film called Haunted House 2. That movie's already out. Even though she was dumped by Fandango, the current plan is for Summer Rae to return as a singles heel. As noted, she's currently away filming The Marine with The Miz. Dean Ambrose is currently 8 days away from having the longest WWE United States title reign since it became a WWE title. Ambrose is currently from Raw or the day after 333 days, and MVP was has the longest reign with 343 days. Regarding Cesaro and Paul Heyman not coming out to theme music from Raw, that's the plan for now, but only for a short term, as they are working on new music for Cesaro, but the feeling is that not having music is a talking point for him. In this next video, just take this link, Sam Roberts talks to an uncomfortable Roddy Piper about his role on WWE Legends House. Piper said he's not sure that he likes himself on the show. Again, you can catch it at that link. WWE's website has another video of Zack Ryder's appearance on the Travel Channel's Toy Hunter at this link. WWE agent and longtime jobber Steve Brooklyn Brawler Lombardi turned 53 years old on Monday or Tuesday. As noted, Mark Henry has a role in the new Haunted House 2 comedy that's out in theaters. The website has an interview with Henry and actor Marlon Wayans. The name on the script for Henry's character was Big Buff Black Inmate. And Wayans joked about that he wants to put Henry in another movie where his role would be Big Buff Black Henchman. Henry said that he would be interested in doing more acting. Darren Young, who was out recovering from a torn ACL, tweeted the following update on this past Thursday. Recovering is going well. Been rehabbing 2 times a day since Tuesday surgery. Walking without crutches at times. Thanks for all your support. Hashtag no days off. Latest video from Brandy Eden Rhodes. This link. As Cody is also there with her. Let's see about their traveling. From the house shows, live events. WWE will make their debut in Malaysia later this year. They are currently scheduled to run on October 10th and 11th in Kuala Lumpur at the 16,000 seat Pucha Indoor Stadium. WWE will also run a tour in South Africa in October with dates scheduled for Bogota, Colombia, and Quito, Ecuador. The same week, October 16th, they also have live events in Mexico City and Monterrey, Mexico. After that, WWE will return to the United States before heading out for another big European tour from November 6th through November 15th. And normally during that month, they normally either do a live event from Shreveport, Hearst Coliseum, or SmackDown. Live event from CenturyLink in Boulder City. But they will run more live events in the United Arab Emirates in February 2015. SBNation.com has a new article with superstars and divas sharing some of their hotel horror stories. Here's some of their highlights. Cameron says, one time we had an appearance. I came back to the hotel. I remember seeing like a mousetrap, like one of those sticky kinds. There was a piece of candy wrapper stuck to it. I'm like, I don't remember that being there. So the night I come back after a SmackDown event, after we had the taping, I was just laying in the bed, and all of a sudden, I just seen a mouse just run by and go to the bathroom. And I go in the bathroom, and I was so disgusted because I was like, okay, that means the hotel had to have known that was there. Because there was a trap, and I was so scared after that, I moved to a different room, and I was scared to put my feet down, at least on the ground. Golda says, I've got several. I really shouldn't. Okay, I'll tell you one story. It's not really a horror story. I was in Japan, and this was my first tour over there. I was there with Danny Prophet and Doug Furness. We were in this little bitty town in Japan. I can't remember where it was, but I built on the butcher set. Always sleeps with the door open. And I think it was Doug Furness that came up with the bright idea to get me out of the room. And he said, watch this right here. This is going to be funny as hell. And he let the fire extinguisher go. And it was one of those that doesn't stop. And Abdullah started coughing in his room. There was this white stuff all over the room. It was pretty cool. Abdullah didn't know who did it, though. Bad News Barrett says probably the worst one was when somebody found out which hotel I was staying in and started doing very bad English accents, pretending to be related to me trying to get into the room. Yeah, it was just a bit of a disaster. JR was stating, it's rage from turning the sheets back and finding someone's deposit. Someone actually used the restroom in the bed and then remade the bed, and it wasn't funny. That was in New Jersey, I think. Yeah, then the other stuff is simple. I had a hotel room in Manchester, England that would have been too small for Hornswoggle. I was hanging everywhere. They had a TV with a screen the size of my iPad. They had a desk that you could work at the desk, but the room was so small the desk didn't have room for a chair. So you had to sit on the end of the bed to reach over your desk to do your work. Dolph Ziggler says one time at Motel 6, but the lock had been busted off a bunch of times, and it looked like they just painted over it. So the door would just come right open, and it was really cheap. Bad part of town, shady characters outside the window. It's ground floor, of course, doing who knows what. So I took the chair from from the desk, and I propped it under the door and pushed the bed to the other side of the room, and I slept sitting up with my clothes on, waiting for the door to come unjammed. Darren Young again announced his ACL at the WWE Live event on Saturday night, and he already has been through surgery from the injury. He tweeted following about his injury. He tried to tough it out, but doc informed me I tore my ACL. Surgery was needed. Surgery was a success. Now it's time to live up to hashtag no days off, hashtag rehab. Behind the scenes look at Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, Batista's in this one. This link. A source who was out in New Orleans during WrestleMania 30 week noted that some of the NXT stars were spotted at a bar on Bourbon Street. And while they were partying hard, it was said that Paige was keeping her distance and obviously knew how to act. You may remember back when Paige was first signed, there were rumors that she would be kept off the main roster for a while because of her age. Well, she's now, of course, 21. She turned 21 last August. As AJ Lee was also listed as injured on the Raw script. Brian Alvarez indicated on F4W Online that AJ has asked for some time off. Original plans for Monday's Raw did not have a contender tournament for Big E's Intercontinental title. WWE officials were hoping that Christian would be back to claim his title shot, but apparently they got a bad report on his condition and went with the idea of crowning a new #1 contender. Happy birthday goes to Hall of Famer George Animal Steele, turning 77 years old, while Vicky Guerrero turning 46 and former WWE star Paul London turned 34. Rob Van Dam tweeted following about the Nancy Grace and Ultimate Warrior controversy. Sadly, because of at Nancy Grace, HLN, Warrior's death will be associated with steroids and illegal drugs forever by many. Hashtag WITW14. Zack Ryder will be appearing on the Travel Channel Troy Hunter Show at 9 p.m. Chris Jericho was appearing on the TBS special Deal With It at 10:30 p.m. earlier this week. A script leaking for this week's Raw from Birmingham for pre-show also leaked again at Ringside News from that link earlier, indicated that it was left on the floor and picked up by someone at the arena. A to-do list was also discovered from this week's show. You can check it out again at that link from earlier. It's a list of things WWE needed to film at this week's taping, such as the JBL Cole show, and then a Mark Henry clip to promote the Haunted House 2 movie, and then WWE Inbox episodes and more. There was an edit set out in the arena at the Raw in Birmingham by WWE officials for security to remove any Sting-related signs that were seen in the crowd. Several fans pointed out that during the Raw main event, from the Shield's #1 opponent, the Shield's 11 opponents were being introduced. The Evolution graphic briefly appeared on the big screen when Bad News Barrett was coming out. So there was a botched moment there. And it appears that WWE has dropped Alberto Del Rio from their Intercontinental title plans. Before WrestleMania 30, the plan was for Del Rio to wrestle Big E at Extreme Rules. As seen on Raw, Del Rio was eliminated from the contender tournament after a loss to Raw Van Dam. And there was some confusion over what will be airing on the network for Warrior Week. WWE's graphic on Raw stated Warrior's greatest matches would air at 10 p.m., while the official network schedule has Warrior, the Ultimate Legend, documentary at 10 p.m. The Exotic Express that we've seen in WWE's Adam Rose vignettes is a real thing. And I'll show the photo of the bus at the end of this video. As it was in Birmingham, Alabama, from the Raw show. PW Insider confirms the reports that was going around WWE. AJ was actually time off. And there was no word yet on how long she will be gone. Possibly spending time with CM Punk. WWE filmed the interviews with the Legends House casted from New York City about the passing of the Ultimate Warrior that will be used in the WWE Network programming for this week. Former WWE Eve Torres got married to Lanier Gracie on Friday. It also posts her wedding picture with her in her dress. Not from here, but at the end of the video. Chavo Guerrero also has a new talk show debuting Geek Nation. I'll post a photo of that as well. And it's called Where Men Come to Be Men. Chavo filmed an episode with Rampage Jackson and Jomo. And again, it's showing the photo at the end of the video. Former TNA star Jesse Neal and his girlfriend, former wrestler Brittany Savage, welcomed their first baby girl into the world on Saturday. And her name is Brooklyn Giselle Neal. She was born at 1 a.m. in the morning. Roddy Piper's new podcast is now online at Podcast One. The first two episodes of Piper's Pit features Hacksaw Jim Duggan, thoughts on WrestleMania 30, The Ultimate Warrior, and more. Former tag team champion Sir Mo turned 50 years old. Also would have been 87th birthday of WWE Hall of Famer Antonio Rocca and the 77th birthday of WWE legend Stan Stasiak. Also, happy birthday goes to the former Diva Maxine as she turned 20 years old. Sid Vicious recently spoke with Wrestling 101. Of course, that's just incredible. Peter Polacco. And here are some of the highlights from that. Having worked for Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff, how would you compare your two bosses? I thought Eric was pretty cool, a pretty cool cat. Working with Eric was very fun, and the atmosphere was great, while working for Vince was all about the finer points of the business. You returned to WWE TV leading into Raw's 1000th episode in 2012. What was it like being back on TV? For me, it was a personal victory after my injury. That isn't the way I wanted people to remember me leaving the industry, so it was nice coming back to WWE around Raw 1000 and working with Heath Slater. Who are some of the guys you enjoy watching these days? To be honest with you, I never watched TNA, and in general, I don't really watch a lot of wrestling anymore. Some of the guys I've enjoyed coming up a little bit are the Wyatt family and Bray Wyatt, which is Mike Rotunda's kid. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Vince has tried getting that character to work on at least 2 other occasions. Another guy I really like is Jack Swagger. I think he's got every tool there is. He's got such a great look, and it seems to be one hell of a talent. But if he could just get a little more charisma, he'd be a real star. Courtesy of Wrestling DVD News and cover for Batista's DVD and Blu-ray that comes out on June 10th. I'll also post that picture at the end of this video. WWE announced that WWE World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan was off tonight's show because he's on his honeymoon with Brie Bella. What will be back next week. Sheamus vs. Batista has been announced for SmackDown taping. John Cena vs. Bray Wyatt Steel Cage match has been announced for Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Then WWE take the following matches from Birmingham for Superstars. That is now airing on Saturday morning. on the network. I think at 8 a.m. I don't know if that's Central Time or Eastern Time. Biggie Langston versus Titus O'Neil in a non-title match, and Los Matadors versus 3MB. Jack Swagger versus Big Show was announced for the live episode of the main event. Of course, it's only live on the network. And just a reminder, it's not showing on the Ion Network at all anymore. And now for what you've been waiting for, the Raw results. In a nutshell, tonight, Monday's Raw episode kicked off with a graphic in memory of Ultimate Warrior. We go to the panel, Josh Matthews, Booker T, Sergeant Slaughter, and A-Rye. Of course, as a pre-show, they talk about the Warrior. Slaughter talks about meeting with the Warrior at WrestleMania 30. Matthews says, we will be celebrating Warrior's life tonight. We go to the pre-show opening video and back to the panel. Matthews introduces everyone. Odd start there. And we get a look back at Daniel Bryan winning the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 30. And then last week's Raw. And the panel talks about Triple H and the Shield. And we see Big E defeat Titus O'Neil in the ring for the Superstars match. Well, the panel talks about the Intercontinental title tournament and then kicks off the show. First round matches will be tonight. The tournament is being held because Christian, the number one contender, is out with an injury. Still, Paige will also be involved tonight. John Cena will address the Wyatt family on Raw. And we go to the network commercials. We get a look at Cena versus Wyatt from WrestleMania 30. We also show Bray Wyatt's promo from SmackDown. We see Los Matadors making their entrance for Superstars. Renee Young interviews Divas champion Paige backstage about making history. And we come back for more promos, and the panel talks about Intercontinental title tournament. Renee interviews Big E backstage, and he's not worried. More hype for the panel, and then that's it for the pre-show. So there was no results for that second match for Superstars. Tonight, Monday's show opened up with a entire roster on the stage for the Ultimate Warrior t-shirt, face paint, and what have you. Jerry King Lawler leads us with a video package on the Ultimate Warrior's career. We come back and we get the 10-bell salute for the Warrior. We see the entire roster, even Vince McMahon, out on stage. Lawler invites us to celebrate the life of the Ultimate Warrior, and the Warrior theme plays and the fans cheer. Triple H leads everyone in a big Warrior chant. We go out to the announcers. The Usos versus Batista and Randy Orton is announced for later. Also will be the Authority strike back at the Shield. Or will the Authority strike back at the Shield? We go to the ring for the kickoff of the Intercontinental title tournament. But first, always have a commercial. First match, RVD versus Alberto Del Rio. Back from the break, Del Rio already in the ring. Up next with RVD with a big pop. Del Rio strikes first and takes RVD to the corner. Then they go back and forth. RVD gets a crossbody to come back in, and RVD fires back. But Del Rio drops him for a 2 count. Del Rio with more offense. Del Rio with a boot to the face while RVD is on the apron. Del Rio comes back and gets back dropped over the top. Then we see Big E backstage watching. RVD with a moonsault off the apron, but lands on his feet. Del Rio with a clothesline. Del Rio tosses RVD into the fanfare. We'll go to commercial. Back for the break, and RVD is in control, but gets kicked in the gut. Del Rio with a big DDT. RVD lands on the corner with a back kick. RVD then drops Del Rio and goes for a split like a moonsault, but lands on Del Rio's knee. Del Rio drops RVD with a backstabber and covers for another pin attempt. And Del Rio comes back on top, but RVD catches one of him with a big heel kick. Then we see Big E backstage again watching a monitor. Then Del Rio crotches RVD on the top rope. And Del Rio with a big kick to the head. RVD blocks a cross arm breaker. More back and forth action as RVD gets the win and advances in the tournament. Then we get a look at Kane, Triple H, and Batista beating down Daniel Bryan last week. And Roman Reigns hitting the spear on Triple H. And we see Randy Orton and Batista walking in on Triple H. And Stephanie tonight. And they all shake hands, but we can't hear what's being said. The announcers talk about how we will be celebrating Warrior tonight. We get a clip from SummerSlam 1988 with the Warrior taking on the Honky Tonk Man. Back for the break, and the authority is talking with Orton and Batista backstage. Triple H says they need to focus on the Shield now. He says they remind him of a lot of Evolution. Cue the Evolution faction coming back together. Triple H doesn't know if anyone can stop the Shield. Stephanie does and says she's looking at them. Triple H says that if they are on the same page, nobody, including the Shield, can stop them. Batista only wants to be champion. Orton is also thinking about his own career. They walk out. Curtis Axel and Ryback versus Goldust and Cody. We go to the ring. Ryback waits in the ring with Curtis Axel as Cody and Goldust made their way out. Goldust and Axel start things out for that match. Tags from the Rhodes brothers as they keep control of Axel. Ryback tries to come in as Goldust kicks him in the head. Axel drops Goldust and stomps away. Ryback tags in for some double teaming on Goldust. Ryback with more offense on and shoulder thrust. Ryback with a tag and slashes off the ropes. Axel drops an elbow and gets a 2 count on Goldust. Cody finally gets a tag and unloads. Cody with a moonsault on Ryback. Cody leaps out onto the floor and takes out Ryback before rolling him back in. Cody springboards in with a Nelson drop kick and only a 2 count on Ryback. Axel dumps Goldust to the floor. And out of nowhere, Ryback will get the win. As Cody nailed a disaster kick on Axel, Ryback blocked the disaster kick, and Miho clothesline for the win. Back for the break, we get Bo Dallas victory. Alicia Fox versus Paige is up next. Back for the break, Alicia Fox waits in the ring. As New Divas champion Paige makes her way out for a non-title match. They lock up and they go to the corner. Alicia gets aggressive, but Paige knocks her to the mat. Alicia with a tilt-the-world backbreaker as Alicia with another backbreaker. Alicia drops Paige again and sends her out to the floor. Alicia pulls Paige back in and elbows her in the face for a few times. Then Alicia with a suplex for a 2. Alicia with a headlock. And then Alicia drops Paige again and taunts her fans. Alicia with an uppercut and a forearm in the corner, but Paige comes back with an offense and nails drop kick. And Paige applies her Scorpion crosslock for the win. Then we get a look at Batista and Randy Orton versus the Usos from last week. Rematch was up next. Back to commercial. When I say Oos, you say oh, Oos versus Orton and Batista. The Evolution back for the break, and out comes Tag Team Champions Usos for a non-title match. Orton is out next, followed by Batista. Bell ring and Usos unload on Orton and Batista, sending them out to the floor. The Usos hit the suicide dive on, take both men out, and come back in and get the hyping the crowd. Orton comes back in and goes in with one of the Usos and lost back and forth as Batista comes in, but the Usos kicks out of a spine buster at 2. Batista argues with the referee. Uso nails a Samoa drop for a 2. Orton takes the other Uso head first into an announcer's table. Out of nowhere, the Shield attacks Orton on the floor and lay him out. Roman Reigns tosses Orton in the barrier. The Shield surrounds Batista and he waits for a fight. Seth Rollins hits Reigns and Batista nails him. Same for Dean Ambrose. Reigns hits a Superman punch, knocking Batista to the floor with Orton. The Shield's music hits to a pop and Orton and Batista scramble up the ramp. We get a look at Warrior versus Hogan from WrestleMania 6 before going back to commercial. Batista and Orton walk up on the Authority backstage. Triple H shakes his head and says, "Told you," as they talk off. We go to the stage. Out comes Paul Heyman. He introduces himself as the advocate for the conqueror of the streak, Brock Lesnar. Heyman brags about Lesnar ending the streak. Lesnar asks Heyman to show some photographs from WrestleMania 30. Heyman then introduced the King of Swing, Cesaro, and out he comes with no theme music. Intercontinental title tournament match, Cesaro versus Mark Henry. Out to the ring, and out comes Henry for the tournament match. Henry argues with Heyman. As the bell rings, they lock up and they go to the corner. Cesaro powers off the second rope, and Henry tosses him across the ring. Henry with a big clothesline. Henry tosses Cesaro over the top. Cesaro comes back in. We see Big E watching backstage. Cesaro gets some uppercuts on Henry. Cesaro with a huge forearm shot. Henry shoves him across the ring. Cesaro runs back with a big uppercut. and hits more. Henry shoves him off again. Cesaro runs back with another big uppercut and more forearms. Henry shoves him back again and hits a clothesline. Henry goes down to one knee and covers him for a 2 count. Cesaro slides out of the world's strongest slam. Cesaro comes off the second rope with a big uppercut, and Cesaro gets a new shot on Henry for the win. Cesaro advances in the tournament. Heyman announces him as the winner. After the match, we see Big E Langston backstage watching Cesaro celebrate. Back to commercial. Back from the break, Triple H orders Brad Maddox to tell the Shield that they will be in action and be in the main event. Alexander Rusev versus Xavier Woods squash match was up next. We go to the stage. Out comes Lana to introduce Alexander Rusev. She says it will be futile to resist. Lana praises Rusev and tells her to rise in appreciation as he makes his way out. And we see Xavier Woods waiting in the ring. Rusev strikes first with big knees, more offense and a big shot. That sends Woods down. Then we see R-Truth watching from ringside. Rusev with a big side slam and the accolade for the win. After the match, Truth comes in to break the hold and hits Rusev, but Rusev shows him off across the ring. They go to fight, but Lana stops them. Truth goes to check on Woods, and Lana orders Rusev to attack Truth from the side. Rusev poses as the fans boo. Next up, we got Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler as we go back to a commercial. Back for the break, and we see footage from the Warrior versus Rick Rude cage match from SummerSlam 1990. Now it's hyping the WWE Network. Intercontinental title tournament match. Sheamus versus Swagger. Swagger is talking with Zeb Coulter in the ring as Sheamus makes his way out. They lock up and go at it. Sheamus ends up clotheslining Swagger over the top rope. Swagger comes back in, but Sheamus goes for the forearms on the apron. Zeb distracts the referee and Sheamus comes over. This leads to Swagger slamming Sheamus hard on the floor. Then we see Big E backstage watching again. Swagger brings Sheamus back in for a 2 count. Sheamus fights out of a hold and hits a big belly suplex for a 2 count. Sheamus manages a big clothesline. Swagger misses a splash in the corner. Sheamus with a clothesline. And then Sheamus with a shoulder thrust and a high knee. Sheamus gets a running knee and then a takedown. Sheamus kicks Swagger in the back and drops a knee for a 2 count. Sheamus with forearm to the chest from the apron. Sheamus goes to the top with a battering ram and gets another 2 count. Swagger counters and catches Sheamus in a Patriot lock. Sheamus ends up getting the win with a brogue kick and advances in the tournament. After the match, Sheamus is trying to leave but falls down and is either hurt or selling a leg injury. Then we get Adam Rose beat it. Back from the break, and we get a video of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H talking about Warrior. There's also an unseen clip of Warrior riding in a limousine. Likely during WrestleMania week, this was a plug for the WWE Network special for this week. Then we go to the ring, and we get Damien Sandow has a microphone. He says he's the most deserving person in WWE. Big Show's music hits and interrupts. Sandow continues to yell about how he's not going to be silenced. Show enters the ring and says he's got something to get off his chest. Sandow cuts a promo about how deserving he is, and Show is getting visibly annoyed. Sandow asks Show what he has to say about all of this. Sandow talks more about how deserving he is. Sandow pokes a finger at Show's chest and says how he knows he's telling the truth. Sandow says he's the future of WWE and a future champion. Show shuts him up with a knockout punch. Show's music hits and exits the ring. Wyatt family appears on the big screen and says they're next. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and the Wyatt family comes to the ring. Wyatt cuts a promo and says he's never lied to us, but John Cena has. Wyatt says he's got Cena right where he wants him, right against the ropes. Wyatt tells Abigail he doesn't want to slay the Cena monster just yet. He just wants it to come out and play. Wyatt calls Cena out. Cena's music hits to a big pop. Cena jokes that the last thing he needs is another push. Nobody wants to see that. Cena asks why Wyatt is always so serious. Cena says Wyatt tried at WrestleMania 30, but the monster doesn't exist in him. Cena jokes about if he could only get the Wyatts to happy hour, they would be fun. Cena cracks on Bray's appearance. Cena says he found Sister Abigail Wyatt on MySpace. It shows us a picture on the big screen. It's somewhat of a female version of Bray. Cena continues with his jokes and found Bray's mom, Bobby Joe, Wyatt on Tinder. It's a somewhat female version of Luke Harper. Cena says that the Wyatts had a baby born just 1 month ago, and he just got the photos from his friends at TMZ. Chastity Lee and Wyatt, and a somewhat of a baby version of Eric Rowan. Wyatt says every time a serious threat gets in Cena's face, all he can do is make jokes. Cena asks if Wyatt wants serious. Cena gets serious and challenges Wyatt to a steel cage match at Extreme Rules. Wyatt says he likes that. Bray cuts a promo and gets some of the crowd to sing. He's got the whole world with him. Still to come, the Shield versus 3 mystery opponents and the main event. Emma and Santino Marella versus Layla and Fandango, mixed tag match. And back from the break, and we get Emma waiting in the ring with Santino Marella as Layla and Fandango make their way out. We get a side video from earlier where Fandango says his relationship with Summer Rae was strictly professional. Fandango and Santino start things off. And Santino goes for the cover early on, but Fandango tags in Layla. Emma comes on and hits the Fez press and slams Layla's head into the mat. Layla charges but misses in the corner. Emma with a dilemma submission on the ropes. Santino knocks Fandango off the apron. Layla pulls a distracted Emma off the top for a pin out of nowhere. So Layla and Fandango win the match. Stephanie McMahon backstage talking to Kane. She's not happy with his performance lately. Well, after the match, Santino was grabbing the Cobra out when he starts doing the Cobra, puts it on, and he's putting it up to Emma, and starts to do it, and she just kisses him. He's like, puts it back in his pants. For more funny segments. Well, okay, back to Stephanie backstage talking to Kane. Not happy with his performance lately. He tries to apologize, but he doesn't want to hear it. Stephanie screams at Kane to shut up. She says he's used to being a monster and asks what happened. She gets him fired up. He tosses his chair and gets in her face. And he's mad. The Kane mask is sitting in the glass case. It usually is in. Kane stares at it and grabs it. He tells Stephanie he's going to eviscerate Daniel Bryan and send him to the depths of hell. Back to commercial. And we go back to the break and we get another Bo Dallas Vignet. We see Warrior's speech from this past week's Raw. Just one day before he passed away. Still to come segment. The Shield will be in the main event. Also Ziggler versus Barrett in a tournament match. And which was up next. We go to the ring. Out comes Ziggler to a commercial break. Back for the break, we get another Adam Rose Vignet. Dolph was already waiting in the ring as Bad News Barrett comes out. Back and forth as we get early on, and Barrett drops knees but misses one. Barrett with a big whip across the ring and gets a 2 count. More back and forth as Ziggler ducks a clothesline and nails a drop kick. Ziggler clothesline them both over the top rope. They trade shots on the floor and Barrett sends Ziggler head first into a ring post. Then we get another commercial. Back for the break. Barrett has Ziggler down on the mat. Ziggler sends him into the ring post. More back and forth action as Barrett nails waistland, but Ziggler kicked out. Right before the 3 count, Ziggler blocks the pump handle slam and hits the famouser for a 2 count. Ziggler misses head first in the corner. Barrett goes to the second rope, but Ziggler sits him down. Ziggler climbs up for a superflex, but Barrett sends him to the mat. Ziggler runs back up and plants Barrett face first in the mat. Barrett ends up hitting the winds of chains, but Ziggler kicks out at 2. Ziggler ducks the bull hammer, but rolls Barrett up for a 2 count. Barrett blocks the DDT and nails the bull hammer for the win to advance in the tournament. After the break, Barrett had some bad news for us. Barrett says he is our next Intercontinental Champion and throws the mic. Daniel Bryan isn't here tonight because he's on his honeymoon. We get a promo video for Evil Kane coming back. Still to come segment, The Shield in the main event. Back to commercial, The Shield versus Alberto Del Rio, Fandango, Jack Swagger, Jinder Mahal, Heath Slater, Drew McIntyre, Styles O'Neil, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Alexander Rusev, and Bad News Barrett. After the break, out comes The Shield. Their opponents start coming out, and it's way more than three. They try to hit the ring, but the Shield stops them. Heath Slater starts for his team, but gets dominated by the Shield. Rollins gets dominated by Rusev. Rusev drops the big elbow drops and tags in Swagger. Ryback comes in and to keep up the attack, but Reigns spears him on the floor. A huge ball breaks out on the floor, and the referee calls for the bell. Rollins leaps out and takes them all out. The Shield goes back in the ring and stand tall. The group attacks them, and another big ball breaks out. The heels continue to beat down the Shield. Evolution hits, and out comes Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton as all three, as the Evolution are back together again, walk to the ring, and the rest of the heels leave the ring. Evolution hits the ring as the Shield tries to get back to their feet. They beat down Rollins first. Reigns makes a save, but Orton drops him with an RKO. Batista then hits the Batista bomb on Reigns. Rollins gets back up, and Orton holds him while Triple H wails away. Batista stomps on Ambrose. More punishment for Rollins as Orton hits Rollins with an RKO. Fans start to chant yes as Ambrose gets beat down in the corner. Batista with another Batista bomb on Reigns and a Batista bomb on and an RKO for Ambrose. They taunt Reigns and yell at him to get up. Orton and Batista hold Reigns while Triple H tells them to believe in Evolution. Triple H nails pedigree on Reigns. The Evolution music hits again as they raise each other's arms, and Raw goes off the air while Triple H taunting Rollins and yelling to the crowd before Evolution poses on the ropes. Raw Backstage Pass post show opens up with a look at the Shield trying to recover as Evolution makes the exit. Evolution hits the stage and poses together, mocking the Shield. The panel talks about what just happened. We go back to the ring, see officials helping the Shield away from ringside. They're all limping but not wanting help. More discussion from the panel as we get another replay of how the main event ended. And we go to network promos. We come back and Big E is out on the panel. Big E was impressed with Rob Van Dam's win, but doesn't take anything away from Del Rio. Big E believes Cesaro is a rising star, but says Sheamus and Barrett are also top competitors. Big E says he will leave Extreme Rules with the title. Big E says Barrett is the one he would like to face, but picks Cesaro to win the tournament. Then we get hyped for the main event from Tuesday taping, and that was it for the post show. And that concludes the Raw and Superstars for the week of April 14th. Thanks and peace out.